This old man asked the girl what kind of underwear she was wearing today. The girl didn't get angry and generously told him it was a warm-colored underwear. The girl was a commercial diver. The job she got today was to dive into the bottom of the ship to repair and clean the fishing nets entangled on the propeller. The seawater in winter is cold and prickly, so she had to wear warm underwear to dare to dive. However, when she dived into the propeller of the ship and was cleaning the fishing nets entangled on the propeller suddenly rotated, and it was getting faster and faster. The girl swam desperately outward, but the huge suction force made her unable to swim at all. At the critical moment, she tried her best to grab the safety bar and immediately took off the diving equipment with one hand. The girl only escaped one stage when the propeller was stuck by the equipment. Although the girl has a very strong professional upbringing and excellent psychological quality, she was not so lucky every time. She rushed into the driver's seat angrily and gave the operator a big slap without saying a word. Everyone quickly pulled her away and explained that it was just an operation error, but Noon thought that this error almost killed the girl. After that, the girl was very happy and scared, but in order not to offend the owner, she had to do it. In order to adjust her mood, she asked her sister to go diving with her. Although her sister is usually bold, she is also a free-spirited master. After arriving at the destination, not only the scenery here is beautiful, but also the pure white snow covered the top of the mountain, which is as pleasant as a painting. After getting off the car, they started to repair the diving equipment. Suddenly, a stone fell and smashed into the fire. They didn't notice it when they looked up. They just moved the oxygen bottle and other items to the foot of the mountain to prevent them from being hit by the falling rocks. However, no one would expect that the danger was approaching them. Soon, they installed the wireless battery and put on the diving suit. After everything was ready, they dived into the water. As they dived deeper and deeper, the oxygen was getting less and less. When the two sisters stayed at a distance of 5 meters from the water to relax and prepare to take off, 2 giant tigers suddenly swam towards them. The sister told her sister not to be afraid. They were just curious and didn't ask. However, when the sister wanted to say hello to the tiger suddenly turned around and ran away. But they didn't realize that this was a danger signal. They were still curious about what scared the tiger away. Suddenly, a huge giant rock hit the water. The sister didn't have time to dodge and was crushed by the giant rock and quickly brought to the bottom of the sea. The sudden disaster scared the sister to the bottom of the sea. When she reacted, she hurried to the bottom of the sea to look for her sister. She came to the bottom of the sea 33 meters deep. It was pitch black around her and she couldn't see anything. She only felt more and more stressed and her body was getting colder and colder. What was worse was that there was little oxygen left. The sister was very anxious. At this moment, a voice from the sister suddenly came from the wireless battery. She said she was crushed by the giant rock and couldn't move. Then the sister took out the sign and tied it to the rock and began to search around. Finally, she found the sister who was crushed by the giant rock. She tried her best to get rid of the giant rock, but after trying several times, the giant rock didn't move at all. Instead, the intense movement accelerated her oxygen consumption. At this time, the sister, who had a professional pet, was determined to calm down. She asked the sister to take out the fluorescent stick in her pocket and put it around her. Then, pull up the air buoy to mark the position, then let the sister float out of the water with oxygen and call her for help. At the same time, she didn't forget to remind the sister to do a 3-minute floating reduction in a position 5 meters away from the sea. Otherwise, the pressure reduction will cause serious damage to the body. But the sister was in a hurry and didn't float out of the water after a long stay. However, the scene on the shore made her blind in an instant. The body actually slipped. What was even more desperate was that all their oxygen and personal belongings were buried by the giant rock. Fortunately, the wireless power supply, which was farther away from the body, was still safe. She quickly contacted her sister and told her about the disaster above. At this time, the sister told her that there were 2 spare oxygen tanks in the car. By the way, she also brought the golden top of the trunk with her to avoid the giant rock. The sister hurried to the side of the car. She smashed the window of the car with a stone to get the oxygen of the back row, but the trunk could not be opened. She tried to knock down the back row seat and even smashed the trunk with a stone. In short, there was nothing she could do. She had to give the oxygen to her sister first, but as soon as she got into the water, the oxygen bottle suddenly fell into the water. At this time, the sister told her through the wireless power supply that her oxygen had run out. This made her too late to get another bottle of oxygen. She had to hurry to her sister's side and give her oxygen to her. At this time, the sister had taken off her mask, and her face was pale. Later, the sister might have drowned. The sister told her that she was going to find the oxygen that had just been lost. After taking a deep breath of oxygen, she swam out. But she didn't expect that in a hurry she forgot to use the line. As expected, she found the oxygen bottle and lost her way unexpectedly. In this dark and cold sea, if she swam in the wrong direction, both of her sisters would be buried at the bottom of the sea. When she was desperate, fortunately, her sister was experienced. She was waving a flashlight in the distance to guide her. Her sister, who was in a daze, put on a mask after taking a breath of oxygen. After changing the oxygen for her sister, she had to float out of the water and find a way to pry open the trunk to get the gold. At the same time, in search of help, her sister reminded her again that she must do air resuscitation, but the situation was critical. Her sister was worried that if she listened for one more second, her sister would be in more danger. She swam out of the water directly. As expected, she vomited as soon as she got ashore. The great pressure inserted into her internal organs began to be damaged, but her sister couldn't care less about this. She just wanted to get the gold as soon as possible to save her sister. But she tried many times and failed. At this time, she took out the map and thought of going to a nearby resident's house to find a tool. Fortunately, there was a family not far away. But after she came, no matter how she knocked on the door, no one answered. She saw through the window that this family seemed not to be at home. In a hurry, she had to break through the window, but she didn't expect that when she broke in, she was stared at by the owner's dog. She ran up and bit her thigh. In order to watch her family bravely, her sister felt the pain on her leg. Her diving suit was bitten by a big hole. She looked at the time. Her sister's oxygen could last for 23 minutes. She quickly got up and started looking around. After a while, she finally found a weapon. With the help of Astic, she easily opened the trunk. However, she didn't expect that. There was no gold at the bottom of the trunk. There was only a tire repair tool. She sat on the ground desperately. But soon she realized that her sister's life was at stake at the bottom of the sea. She couldn't give up. So she used the tire repair tool to hold the hole in the diving suit. Then she used a bandage to tie it. Then she took off the advertisement sign on the roadside. With only 2 bottles of oxygen left, she was ready to dive again. In the midst of panic, she put another bottle of oxygen into the sea. But the valve of the oxygen bottle was carved on the stone. She didn't find it after she picked it up. This was also a foreshadowing for the next accident. She took the oxygen and the advertisement sign down and told her sister that there was no gold at the bottom of the trunk. There was only a tire repair tool. Then she picked up the diving suit and tried to pry the stone, but she couldn't pry it with her own strength. Instead, her oxygen was running out because of the intense exercise. When she was about to change the oxygen, she found that the valve of the oxygen was broken. At this time, her sister's oxygen could only last for 3 or 4 minutes. She decided to hurry up and try again. This time, her sister tried her best. But she didn't expect that her sister's strength reached the end of the suit. The rescue failed again. At this time, her sister suddenly got angry. She asked her sister to take the welfare vest on her body and put it under the giant stone. The compressed air in the gas bottle pushed the giant stone away. However, this welfare vest could not withstand the force of the giant stone at all, causing the exhaust valve to explode instantly. Her sister was anxious, but she couldn't go back to the sky. She looked at her sister with guilt. The two of them hugged each other tightly, as if they were saying goodbye to each other. Then her sister took off her mask and left the remaining oxygen to her sister so that she could return safely. And she had to face reality calmly. Suddenly, her sister gave her oxygen back to her. She came out of the water and looked for the last hope. Due to the fact that her sister didn't take the welfare vest for several times, her sister's mouth and nose were bleeding and vomiting. She fell down helplessly. Her eyes were full of helplessness and despair. Suddenly, the tire repair tool in front of her gave her hope again. So she picked up a stone and put it on the repair tool. She took a deep breath and came to her sister again. After taking a breath of oxygen, she put the tire repair tool into the welfare vest. When she breathed again, the safety valve was blocked by the repair tool instantly. Then the giant stone was lifted up by the welfare vest, little by little. But it was still a little short. Her sister held her breath and tried her best to lift the stone. Her sister finally got out of the struggle. They succeeded. Then they used a little oxygen left in the welfare vest. But her sister's ears were bleeding unknowingly. Her sister knew that she didn't take the welfare vest for several times. If she didn't take the welfare vest this time, her sister would be in danger. But they didn't have enough oxygen at all. So her sister took her to a cave. The two wanted to complete the pressure reduction here, but the space here was small. The oxygen was exhausted soon. Her sister suddenly thought of the bottle of broken oxygen. It was almost full. Her sister went back without hesitation to find the bottle of oxygen, but her sister was worried and hid. Finally, with the help of her sister and her brother, they successfully brought the oxygen back to the cave. They smashed the valve of the bottle with the stone. A lot of oxygen came out and filled the whole cave. The two sisters were finally able to breathe freely and complete the pressure reduction here. But they didn't expect that her sister's nose was bleeding again, and then she passed out. In order to save her sister from violating the law of nature many times, she finally couldn't hold her body. Her sister tried her best to save her. The rescue. Plane happened to pass by and found them. Fortunately, her sister woke up. The movie ended here. After watching it, I suddenly remembered that I forgot to breathe.